Get autographed copies of New York Times bestselling author Cynthia Brian's books at www.starstyleradio.com. Get inspired and motivated to be your best self with Be the Star You Are, 99 gifts, and Be the Star You Are for teens. Buy cases at a deep discount to give away as gifts and premiums. Visit www.starstyleradio.com or call 925-377-STAR. 925-377-STAR. 925-377-STAR.
Look among the stars.
Do you have a plan for your life? Do you know where you want to go? Are you looking to be happier, healthier, and wealthier while having more fun every day? Meet our empowerment architect and goddess gardener, Cynthia Brian, as she engages in energetic exchanges with successperts, bringing you research, innovations, strategies, and techniques to strengthen your life, business, and personal spaces. Be inspired, motivated, encouraged, and empowered. Lend us your ears right here on Star Style. Be the star you are. The party starts now.
Well, hello, Power Partners, and welcome to Star Style. Be the star you are. This is normally our informational playground, but for the last few months, the world has been plagued with unbelievable disasters, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the floods, the California fires, and now devastation in Vietnam with mudslides and cyclones. It seems like every place that we look at, every time you open the newspaper, there's something else that's happening. And it can't help but make us feel very tense and scared and all of that. So today we are going to be focusing on a few things. But before we talk about what the disasters are happening and how you can protect yourself, I want to make sure that you stay tuned for segment 3 because we have a fabulous guest coming on. He is IronE Singleton, who is the star of, or one of the stars of The Walking Dead, which is starting its 8th season. And he also starred with Sandra Bullock in The Blindsided, and he's going to be talking about his new one-man show that's called Blindsided by The Walking Dead. So that's coming up in segment 3. But in our first 2 segments, what we do want to discuss is protection, evacuation protection for yourself, what's happening with the fires, how the smoke can affect you, and some of the worsening trends that are happening. And of course, unfortunately, our government still says that there is no global warming or that there is no climate change. So I'm having a very hard time, although I'm not political at all, I'm having a hard time believing any of that. But with that, the miracle moment for today is brought to you by Be the Star You Are charity, who the volunteers are working so diligently to pack boxes of brand new books. Recent new magazines, games, and other resources to ship to the hurricane survivors and evacuees. And then we are actually delivering to shelters in Northern California all these boxes. And so I'm very excited about that. But we could really use your donations to continue this. We want to do it as long as possible, as long as people need our help. Visit BeTheStarYouAre.org for more information. You can go to our Operation Hurricane and Fire Disaster page, and you'll see what we're doing. This is by Maria Rainier Rilke. It says, our deepest fears are like dragons guarding our deepest treasure. So I'm going to take that as a positive, that as fearful as that we might be in what's happening around the world with the climate change and with the global warming, that perhaps there is a treasure at the bottom of this, not a rainbow at the moment, but of this devastation. So with that being said, this whole past week, the Northern California and Southern California fires have been raging. Over 100,000 people were evacuated. Over 5,000 people lost their homes, including members of my family, my relatives lost ranches and vineyards, and it was very sad because I am from this area of Napa Valley, but people in Napa, Sonoma, Solano, and Mendocino, as well as down as Anaheim. And then new fires have kicked up out in Dublin, in Sausalito, and in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It seems like all of California is on fire, and it becomes a very worsening, horrific trend. 41 people, as far as I know, as of right now, have been found dead, but many hundred are missing, and that's not a good sign. So we don't really know what happens. I have been communicating with so many different people, and what we are believing is that we are probably all suffering from PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And that is a disorder that develops in people who have experienced a shocking, scary, or a dangerous event. Now, of course, we had the Las Vegas shootings before this. We had 3 hurricanes back to back, and then the terrifically horrible earthquakes that killed so many in Mexico. We also have our wars going on. It could be combats. People could suffer from it after a surgery or an accident or rape or domestic violence or just living in a violent neighborhood. And of course, all of these natural disasters, which I just found out that fire isn't considered a natural disaster. And I don't know how it could not be. But in any case, hurricanes, fires, floods, earthquakes, anything traumatic. There is an estimated 8% of Americans, that's 24.4 million people that are suffering from this. And it's natural to feel afraid during and after a traumatic situation because fear triggers many split-second changes in the body to help defend against danger or to avoid it. It's a fight or flight response, and this is just a typical reaction, and it's meant to protect the person from harm. Now, most of us will recover from the initial symptoms naturally. And those who continue to experience problems might be actually diagnosed with PTSD. And people who have post-traumatic stress disorder may feel stressed or frightened or anxious, even when they're not in danger. And that can adversely affect themselves, their family, their work, and most of all, their health. So some of the symptoms include reliving the traumatic experience, having flashbacks, excessive emotions, jumpy, irritable, difficulty sleeping, anger outbursts, unhealthy habits, just really feeling depressed and sad, avoidance of anything or anyone that reminds you of the traumatic event, negative beliefs and feelings, could be guilt or shame. And so what we really need to do is do some meditation, and if you need help, get professional help. It is so important to do so. Now, I really last week was having a very, very, very hard time because here I was, it was incredibly smoky where I live, which is some miles away from Napa Valley, but in a valley very similar, and we had red flag alerts that meant we could go up in flames. And so what I did is I mobilized Be the Star You Are teens. We packed boxes. We filled the car up with about $6,500 worth of brand new books. I think we had 16 or 18 or 20 cases of books. And we drove up to Napa and Solano, and we went to evacuation centers and shelters and drop-off places to see if we could be of aid. And I want to tell you, all of us felt that hopelessness kind of disintegrating because we went to a state of we can help. We're doing something proactive. And the generosity and the graciousness of the people that we met was amazing. And to see communities coming together and people helping each other and people smiling, despite the fact that they had lost everything or, had been evacuated and still hadn't any idea of where, if they had a home. And one of the very heart-filling experiences was driving into this huge community college parking lot and seeing horse trailers and animal trailers all lined up along with animal shelter people and animal control and animal rescue and volunteers with a tent, and they were sending out people to rescue animals. And they were also taking people back into areas along with the sheriff to see if they could find any of the animals that they had to leave behind. You have to understand that Napa, Solano, Mendocino, and Sonoma counties are very rural areas. Yes, there's, the beautiful wine countries, but also in that wine country, it's farmers, just like my family are farmers. And people have a lot of animals and cattle and barnyards and chickens and ducks and geese and rabbits and goats and horses. It's big horse country. So there were many, when these fires came, like my relatives, they literally got out of the house with the clothes on their back. They had a couple of minutes and their whole place went up in flames. So they didn't even get to grab anything. So many people who had a few minutes were able either to load up their pets. Some people had to just open the barnyards and open the gates for the animals. And so this was really heartwarming to see that people were going back in there to rescue so many animals. And I just wanted to read you Zara Hassanein, she is one of our hosts and reporters. She actually is a reporter for Hope Heals on Express Yourself. And she was one of the teens that I took with me to these shelters. And she was so moved that she wrote just a small little, thought about it. And she just wanted people to know how she felt. And I was going to read this because I think it really shares how all of us felt. When disaster strikes, it's easy to send prayers, to watch the news, or to complain about how our world is becoming more and more dismal. It's harder, though, but also much more rewarding to send hope as well as concrete help. This week, I drove to Napa and Solano counties with other Be the Star You Are volunteers and Voice America radio personalities, Chelsea Pelchet, and our executive director and our producer, Cynthia Brian, to deliver boxes of books to evacuation centers housing people who fled their homes after recent fires in Northern California. Those affected by the fire have been squatting in these centers for days without any source of entertainment. We figured that anyone, young or old, can always enjoy a good book. Often I think of myself as helpless against things as arbitrary and as ruthless as national disasters. But my attitude changed with every smile and every thank you we received as we handed books to people in person. Sure, I had too much homework on that night. I had too little time to do it. Yet it's important to realize that helping people who have lost everything is more important than a nightly assignment or any other daily task. We went to several evacuation centers, and the kindness of the people at all the centers was astounding. What I learned that day is that in the most dire of circumstances, our only source of hope is to help each other, and hope heals. And I couldn't agree with Zara more, and I was so proud of her for writing that. And if you would like to donate items to Be the Star You Are to help the fire or hurricane visits, you can visit Operation Disaster Relief, a webpage at bethestaryouare.org. Zara is heading up along with many of our other volunteers, including several of our radio hosts and reporters, Zara Hassanein, Brigitte Gia, Chelsea Pelchat, Katie Chu, and Jelena Liu, and of course myself. And we are all working diligently to help people affected by both the hurricanes and the fires. A financial donation can be made via PayPal, and we would like you just to go to bethestaryouare.org. You'll get an immediate tax deduction, an immediate tax receipt, and that money will go directly to help all of these in need. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how the pollution and the smoke and what you need to do and how you can put together an evacuation kit in the event that it is necessary for you to evacuate for anything. An emergency kit is something that we all need. You're listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are. We are coming to you live on the Voice America Network. This is Cynthia Brian, and this is Star Style, Be the Star You Are.
Be the star you are.
Change your world. Change your life. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Business Bites. Here's Cynthia Brian.
Whatever your goal, you have to go for it. All things, even what seems impossible, can be accomplished when you take a few important steps. Visualize your prize, identify a specific goal, and imagine yourself achieving it in every detail. Choose a role model. Inspirational role models demonstrate possibilities and provide invaluable sources for motivation, strength, and hope. Keep reminders of your goals and your dreams on cards and put them where you'll see them often: the refrigerator, the dashboard, the mirror, the computer. And then pick yourself up after a setback. See mistakes as opportunities to learn and develop. Mistakes are inevitable, valuable, and essential for growth. And when you have a devastation, just know you will bounce back. Remember, you are the star of your own performance. Turn your passions into profits. I'm Cynthia Brian with another Business Bite for Star Style. For more information, visit CynthiaBrian.com. That's CynthiaBrian.com.
Be the star you are. The star you are.
The annual cost of illiteracy to American taxpayers is over $225 billion. Help increase literacy, reduce violence, and improve positive media messages by making a tax-deductible contribution to Be the Star You Are charity. A top-rated nonprofit, Be the Star You Are promotes positive role models, produces positive radio broadcasts, and donates positive books to empower women, families, and youth. Be a power partner and join our galaxy of stars. Visit our website at BeTheStarYouAre.org to make a tax-deductible donation using PayPal or send checks to P.O. Box 376 Moraga, California, 94556. BeTheStarYouAre.org. Dare to care.
You are the star.
Follow us on Twitter for more great ideas at Voice America Empowerment.
It's power time on Star Style. Be the star you are with your passion, purpose, and possibility producer, Cynthia Brian. Now, back to the power party.
This business of show business is calling out to me.
Well, thank you for staying with us here on Star Style. Be the star you are. Speaking of show business, I think so many people from the sports world and celebrity world have been helping with all these different disasters. And of course, everyone who is doing anything to help, we want to say thank you for that. I wanted to, before I talk to you about how the smoke and how the pollution and the sadness and how you can protect yourself, is I want to urge you to put together an emergency supply kit and probably an evacuation kit as well. Yesterday, when this new fire hit in Dublin, which many people said the only reason that they were prepared to evacuate within minutes of being knocked on the door was because they had been watching the news and saw how important it was to have this evacuation kit. So something you might think about doing is at least gathering your important papers and hard drives, anything that you think that you will need to take, know where everything is, or make duplicates and put things in a bag that would be ready to go. But here are things that would be good for an emergency supply kit. Whether you're involved in an earthquake, a tornado, a hurricane, a flood, a fire, or any other calamity, it's going to behoove you to have an emergency supply kit in your vehicle and a larger one in your home. Now, for your home, you want to make sure that you know where all your important documents are, as I just stated, as well as other items that you don't want to lose. And that really could include just having some clothes and medications that you may need. But sometimes, as with the case in these California fires, a matter of minutes is the difference between life and death. So make copies of your passport, your driver's license, your credit cards, have some small bills available, know where your chargers are for your phones, tablets, computers, or get duplicates. Back up your computers, keep files in the cloud or off-site. And for your car, fill a backpack or a small case with the following. You want a first aid kit. And in that first aid kit, really be clear on the things that you think will be vital, not just Band-Aids and Neosporin, but, you might need something that is going to be stronger. You probably want some kind of medications. You might want hydrogen peroxide. You may want bigger bandages and tape to go around it, thermometer, anything, for allergic reactions. So just check out, or you can buy a first aid kit. You're going to want work gloves, towelettes, bottled water, at least a gallon per person per day, a warm blanket, walking shoes, peanut butter, honey, protein bars. The good thing with these, the protein bars last a couple of years, as honey never goes bad, and peanut butter lasts quite a while. So that is a good thing to put in this bag. Make sure you have personal hygiene kit, toothbrush, soap, medications, if whatever it is that you want for your personal hygiene. Matches, candle, flashlight with extra batteries. You might want a crank radio, eating utensils, breathing masks, those NIOSH N95, although what I hear from firefighters, they aren't that effective, but a little bit effective. And you definitely want a clothing change. And so just put this all in a bag, and I think that it is going to be helpful for you, and keep it in your car. I don't like to keep any identification of any kind in my car, so you might want to just keep that identification with you close by. Now, we're talking about the amount of air pollution. It is unprecedented. It is in the extremely unhealthy. That is what the air quality districts have been telling us all around California with these active wildfires and changing wind patterns. The poor air quality is just lingering in the air. And of course, stores have sold out of masks. Many schools have been closed. Napa, Solano, Sonoma schools, Santa Rosa schools have been closed for more than a week, and I think they're going to be closed for another week. And so you just have to check on where the schools are open or closed. But the key is to stay indoors. What firefighters say is that although the masks might help a tiny bit, they're not going to get out all of the pollutants. So the key is to stay indoors as much as possible. Do not do physical exercise outside, because that is more dangerous for you, and you do not want these in your the air in your body. The air quality districts are asking residents to avoid any additional air pollutants by curtailing any polluting activities. Of course, that includes anything that's wood burning, but including driving or barbecuing or lawn mowing or leaf blowing. Pets are included in the smoke advisory. So if you have small pets, small dogs, small cats, birds, they're just like people, and they need to stay inside and not be exposed. So firefighters spend most of their working life in smoky conditions, but most of them have never seen anything quite as bad as this. It is just really, really everywhere you go in California, there is just a lot of smoke. So it's not so helpful to wear that mask. So again, just stay inside. Unlike the hurricanes that were America experienced in, Puerto Rico is part of America, but the Gulf and the Caribbean experienced in September and August, hurricanes that made the news, natural disasters that strike California are different. They do not offer warnings. Wildfires and earthquakes come without notice. And when they do, those endangers have to act quickly. That means access to an emergency notification system will really behoove anyone. Now, I just want to give out this Nixle. I gave it out last week, but I want to do it again. It's a national mass emergency notification provider. And what you do is you text to 888-777, and then in the message area, you just type in your zip code. You will get an instant message that says you are now connected to Nixle. And what will happen is if there is an evacuation or if there is anything that's happening in your area, like right now we have red flag warnings, which means that fire is possible, imminent. So they keep coming to your cell phone. So that is a very important thing to do. Now, the smoke is definitely dangerous, and it really does create a widespread health risk. So here are some dangers of smoke exposure. For people with pre-existing respiratory conditions, smoke inhalation can cause a flare-up of symptoms that may not respond well to normal medication and other therapy. I saw on the news the other night that a young man just in his 20s who had asthma had a very serious asthma attack and died because the medications did not work. So we have to be careful. And otherwise healthy people can suffer eye, nose, throat irritations, or they can develop a cough, a headache, and overall fatigue. And children are especially at risk because their lungs are still developing. We have to be really careful with this. It's impacting everyone, and patients with emphysema or COPD, that is a pulmonary disorder, and asthma, they're having shortness of breath or other exacerbations, and even patients who don't have any underlying lung conditions are reporting that their chests feel tight and they are coughing more. So hospitals everywhere have been reporting upticks in people with breathing difficulties, severe coughness, and tightness in their chest. So outdoor activities and exercise is especially ill-advised. When people work out, as we know, they breathe faster. They usually breathe through their mouth instead of their nose, and all this increases the amounts of pollutants that they inhale. So that's why school athletic programs have been canceled or postponed, and we just have to understand that that this is going to be kind of the new norm for a while. Now, in the past few years, we only have a little bit of time, and then we're going to have IronE on here. The North States coastal mountains have witnessed several devastating burns, and it's really much in line with the southern coast, which they have long endured. So there have been so many fires, and these are incredibly destructive wildfires. And the part of the state over the past 4 years, I'm talking about California, they've had an endless series of unrelenting fires. And I think what was most disturbing to me is I just watched a documentary on the public broadcast television about climate change and global warming, and it's very alarming to me that the fox is watching the hen house. So our president has been dismantling the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and he has put a person who was a attorney general from Oklahoma, his name is Pruitt, in charge, who is very much against having all of the regulations for clean air, and he's all for fossil fuels, and he doesn't believe in climate change or global warming. And this is really, they call it a faux myth or something, a faux something that they are talking about. And it truly, being a farm girl, it just reminds me of the fox being in the hen house. And it's very scary because how can we ignore that global warming is happening? I had an email from a pen pal in Ireland that over the weekend, Ireland suffered the first hurricane in its history. It came in from the Caribbean. It knocked out half the power of the country of Ireland. So when hurricanes and earthquakes and fires, and now I opened the paper, and in Vietnam, the northern Vietnam, has quite a few of things happening, but in the Gulf of Tonkin, the hurricanes, cyclones, and the depressions, they're called tropical depressions, are getting worse and worse and worse. And of this mudslide, there were 100,000 evacuated, over 300 dead. It seems that we are in a perpetual state of danger. And this is rather scary to me that we're not, that we have declined the Paris Accords on global warming. So what else is going to happen? There was, in talking about these storms, I happened to be cleaning out my car, and I found a Wall Street Journal that was dated August 31st. And Houston is equipped to bounce back, but it was talking about the storm and how many Katrina evacuees who ended up settling permanently in Houston, they had to be evacuated once again because of Harvey. And so they had to relive this horrible nightmare that they survived Katrina only to be wading in water. And Katrina uprooted residents to cities across the U.S., but Houston received the largest share outside of Louisiana. 150,000 to 200,000 evacuees who initially arrived in Houston from Katrina, 40,000 decided to stay. And then those people ended up having to be evacuated when Hurricane Harvey hit. And this was just, I think, another example of trauma. And so I was reading these articles about how groups spent hours on rooftops and how the local people brought in canoes and boats and were helping. And it was community helping community. And that to me was very heartwarming, but very sad at the same time. Another thing was the shutdown of all the refineries that Harvey. It really strained the global superhighway of the energy trade because it crippled the Gulf Coast refineries, the ports, the pipelines, and a lot of the world was depending on that. So more than a dozen refineries were affected, including many of the biggest ones, and there were port closures. And just having those Katrina survivors have to relive the ordeal, I think it was just a little bit way too much. So I just feel that everything that we are doing, if you can help with Operation Disaster Relief, that would be really fabulous. Whether you support Be the Star You Are charity at BeTheStarYouAre.org or any charity of your choosing. The Red Cross is in there doing amazing work. But one thing I do want to get out there of what is needed, they were very, very happy to get the books that we delivered and games because it was brand new. But what they do not need at shelters and centers is anything that is your old junk. Don't deliver junk. Don't ship junk. It just is more junk that has to be disposed of, and it ends up costing the agencies and the cities just much too much. Now, before we're going to go to break, I just want to give out the website once again for Operation Disaster Relief, and that is go to BeTheStarYouAre.org, and you will just click on the main page. It'll take you right to Operation Disaster Relief. So be safe, stay away from the polluted air, and create that evacuation kit that I was talking about. And if you think you are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder or you're depressed in any way, use some of the tips. And I know that IronE, who is an incredible motivator and inspirational person, he'll have more to say about that. I'm Cynthia Brian. When we come back from break, the incredible, the astonishing, the motivating, the inspiring IronE Singleton from Blindsided and The Walking Dead will be back with us, and he's going to talk about his one-man show that's coming up. Don't go away. You're listening to Cynthia Brian. This is Star Style. Be the Star You Are. I'll be right back.
The star you are. The star you are. Be the star you are.
Follow us on Twitter for more great ideas at Voice America Empowerment.
Are you seeking a dynamo speaker for your meeting, conference, or organization? Internationally recognized keynote speaker and New York Times bestselling author and lifestyle coach Cynthia Brian will bring her energetic expertise, passionate professionalism, and ebullient personality to your event. Hailed as an expert in lifestyle, women's issues, self-help, personal balance, leadership, media, gardening, and interior design topics, Cynthia Brian is a popular empowerment keynote speaker around the world, lecturing to audiences of 100 to 5,000. For rates and bookings, call 925-377-STAR, 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 and visit www.cynthiabrian.com. When you want the best, book Cynthia Brian, www.cynthiabrian.com.
This business of show business is calling out to me.
Get started acting or modeling with a consultation from media coach extraordinaire Cynthia Brian, who has guided entertainment careers for over 2 decades. Call 925-377-STAR or visit www.cynthiabrian.com. Pick up a copy of her award-winning book, The Business of Show Business, and start living your dreams today. Call 925-377-STAR, 925-377-STAR.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
It's power time on Star Style. Be the star you are with your passion, purpose, and possibility producer, Cynthia Brian. Now, back to the power party.
This business of show business is calling out.
A-Town, what they knew about the A-Town. A-Town, what they knew about the A-Town. A-Town, what they knew about the A-Town. The Blindside, that's where it went down. Out the gate, Oscar nominate, I'm the great, that's me who said God spake. The Blindside, who would have ever thought it? I'm out the projects, put me in my life story in America's #1 movie, but I circumvented the penitentiary. Oh, that's Big Mike's side. I know they like the wake beam. Central Bullet said, hey, he got skills.
Are you loving that, everyone? Well, you heard Blindside in there. Welcome back. I'm Cynthia Brian, and with us today is IronE Singleton. He was one of the big stars of the Oscar-nominated film The Blind Side with one of our favorite actors, Sandra Bullock, and he's also known as the compassionate tough guy T-Dog on the Golden Globe-nominated TV show The Walking Dead. Well, welcome, IronE, to Star Style. Be the star you are.
Wow, what an introduction. I've been away too long, guys. Hey, everybody. I've been away too long.
Hello. Welcome, IronE. We love it that you are back. Well, you know, I am very excited that you are coming on Star Style, Be the Star You Are, because you have something really incredibly exciting to talk about. You are launching a 2018 mini world tour of your one-man show, Blindsided by The Walking Dead, which is actually launching tomorrow, just in time for everybody to listen to the show on the archives, and in time for season 8 of the premiere of The Walking Dead. But I wanted, before we talk about your show, I wanted to get to one of the reasons that you've chosen this time, because off the air, you and I were just chatting about the incredible devastation and sadness and sorrow that is happening around the world with all the disasters between the earthquakes and the hurricanes and now the fires all over California and just everything, the floods. And your words of wisdom and inspiration, I thought this can really help people. So tell us about your show and how you feel it's going to be so, inspiring for people to pick themselves up after they've had so much sadness in their life or suffered a disaster.
You ready for this? Because I have a long way in. I'm telling you, Cynthia, I'll open my mouth. It's going to take my wife to tell me to stop.
I love it, though. That's good.
Well, it's interesting that I caught part of your broadcast, and you were talking about all of these natural disasters. You even added some that I wasn't too privy with, like even the mudslides in the Eastern Hemisphere. You talked about the fires in California and all of the hurricanes, the earthquake in Mexico, which brought me to the conclusion that the world needs my one-man show more than ever, Blindsided by The Walking Dead, because this show will help to restore humanity, will help to not restore it, but to strengthen it, will help to bring more compassion back to our society, to our world. And that's what it's all about, and that's what my walk is about. That's what my mission is about. If you heard in the first 30 seconds of my song, Blindside, I'm from the projects. I came out of the projects, came through some very dire circumstances, from losing my mom at the age of 18 from HIV complications and her being an alcoholic and addicted to drugs, and my father having no relationship with him, seeing him twice in my life, my brother in and out of jail from the age of 14, me running the streets, selling drugs, carrying a pistol. I just knew that there was something greater. As a kid, I understood that there was something greater, even in the midst of all of that pain and all of that sorrow I was going through. I knew, because I heard the voice from God. I heard from, some people may refer to God as the higher power, that higher source, that source from which we all come and which we're all connected. And that's what my show is about. It's about bringing us together as well. Ultimately, it's about truth and love. And it tells my life story, from being destitute, coming from the projects, and ending up at Georgia, the University of Georgia, where I played football. Go Dogs. We're undefeated right now. Just in case you didn't know, Cynthia, and everybody else. We're going to the national championship. But
yeah, you go. You go. And, well, so I want to just jump in there, because you said about restoring, and I think what your show is about, too, is restoring hope as well as positivity. And I would like you to tell us about the different characters you play, because what I understand, you have like 40% comedy, 30% drama, 20% song and dance, and 10% poetry and spoken word, and you even throw in Shakespeare. And I cracked up when I heard that. I thought, this is going to be just so enlightening for everyone to see. So tell us about the different characters, because people just heard that one little clip that's from your album Hypocrisy, which I want to remind our listeners, if you go to his website, which is IronESingleton.com, you'll be able to find out everything about what we're talking about right now. But tell us about your characters, IronE, and where they came from. And we know this, it's going to be from your background all the way to starring in Walking Dead as well as The Blind Side.
Yes, you summed it up perfectly. All those different genres you mentioned, from comedy to drama to Shakespeare and so on and so forth, sums up my life perfectly, because my life I think my life has been like 40% drama, 40% comedy, 30% drama. A lot of the drama taking place when I was in my formative years back in the projects, and Shakespeare came from my time at the University of Georgia performing Shakespeare and with local community theater groups. But I play, 3 of the characters are me. One is Kid E, one is Teen E, and one is the adult version of me today, after having overcome all of those trials and tribulations. I play a Shakespearean character, Richard III. I give you a taste of a character called Miss Raj, who is a transgender character. I give you a political character in Bill Clinton. I give you an Asian character, Hispanic. I pay tribute to Gandhi, and Dr. King. So I play women. I play female characters as well. It runs.
Yeah, you play Peaches. She's a pregnant crack addict from the projects, right? So
how'd you know?
Yeah. So I mean, you have a lot of. You have some. Oh, what about Miss Lady? She's a very promiscuous party girl, right? So yeah, the thing is that you have all these characters that are in your show, and you bring them all out. So there are just a few minutes that you do with each one, but by the end of it, what you're doing is really exploring the human condition, right? And you're offering up a solution to how we can be compassionate and loving and caring as human beings with one another in these really, really tough times.
Yes, wow. You summed that up more beautifully than I could ever do it. But yes, I focus on different characters that are from different walks of life, from different places, different backgrounds, different class groups, and so on and so forth, so that at the end of it all, people can understand, wait a minute, we're all one and the same. We're all connected. We're all in this together. So if we're not looking out for one another, then what are we doing? We're kind of wasting our time here. We're going against our purpose for being here, and that's just not the way it should be. So
I want to ask you a question, IronE. Now, first of all, you've got an autobiography out called Blindsided by the Walking Dead, and which will complement your show. But you came from the streets, you fought from the streets, and you have succeeded, and you are a man of faith and football and fun and entertainment, but you have a message for the world. Do you feel that so many of these kids who are struggling today in those gangs, and they're in these, they're in the projects and they don't know how to get out, what is your message to them? How can they find the ropes to climb their way out? Because there is a way. Because I believe if you can do it, people can do it, right? If one person can do it, other people can do it. So what message do you have for those kids?
Well, for one, they have to understand that they were put here for a reason, because otherwise they wouldn't be here. God would not allow them to exist right now. Why are we here? Everybody is an individual. And I want to say that to them. I'm speaking directly to all of you individuals that are in that type of situation. Why do you think that you are here as an individual? There is no other individual that is like you, that is like me, that is like her, that is like him on planet Earth. That's because we all have something to contribute to society, to contribute to this world. And if you don't hold on and you don't fight, and when you go down, you don't jump back up and dust yourself off and get back in the fight, get back in the race, then we'll all be shorted a bit. It would be an injustice to humanity. So you have to hang in there and hold fast to your dreams, the dreams that you had when you were younger, when you were a kid. And I know you used to have those visions, those dreams, or whatever you want to call it. And you were thinking about it, and everything was so beautiful before the reality, bad reality slapped you in the face. Maybe you're being, abused verbally or physically, like I was in a sense, and you're being, or you don't know where your next meal is coming from, or you're being evicted or whatever. Just think about those dreams you had, because that was God speaking to you, letting you know that you are here for a bigger purpose, and that it's all going to pay off as long as you continue to listen and obey. That's the same thing that I did. At pivotal moments, I listened, although I didn't do all the right things. But when it came down to pivotal moments, I chose to listen, and I ended up not being, unfortunately, killed like a lot of my friends were, or put in jail, going to prison, or whatever. And so I escaped that because I chose to listen and obey, because I knew that God had a higher calling on my life, just like we all do, but it's up to us to make the right decision.
Oh, IronE, that is so encouraging. And, that's the message of Be the Star You Are, is because that's what I believe, and that's what we believe here at Star Style, Be the Star You Are, is that everyone is a star, and every single person has the ability and the responsibility to contribute and be someone in this world. But you just got to find what it is and then believe in it and go for it. And it takes grits, and it's not easy. It's hard. But as you said, if you listen and you keep going in the right direction, you'll get there. And it's IronESingleton.com is the website. I want to keep giving this out. So getting back to you, you have put together a Kickstarter program that is going to be running for about 30 days. Tell us about that, because everybody needs to get on board so that they can bring, you can see this wonderful performance that you're doing, and you have so many great goodies to give people.
You know it. 30 30 days is how long it's going to run. But the Kickstarter campaign, that is, in wake of all of these tragedies, I ask myself, like, how can I want to do more. I've contributed to a lot of the causes that you mentioned, whether it be through money or through appearances or whatever. I contribute to these causes. But I still have this itch to do more. And I'm like, okay, what else? Something else. I had to talk to my wife, and I'm like, more has to be done. And at the end of it all, at the end of that conversation, each time, whenever I bring that up, she's like, the one-man show, we just have to do it. And I said a Kickstarter, and she mentioned a Kickstarter campaign because we did the show in the past, and we didn't do the show justice because we didn't have the proper funding. We could not promote the show the way we wanted to promote it. So this time we have people on standby, ready, if and when we raise all of these funds, because I know that everybody feels the same way I feel about bettering humanity. So we have our marketing team on standby, ready to go to promote it the way it should be promoted. And we have lots of cool prizes, like you said, from T-shirts, Iron Eagle T-shirts, to books, to autographs from the entire cast of The Walking Dead from season 2, and several goodies. A lot of things that you can't get anywhere else. I think one will be a poster or a piece of art given to me by Frank Darabont from when he was there on the set of The Walking Dead from seasons 1 and 2, and so many cool goodies on there. But you have to go to the website to see everything that's being offered, and the prizes and gifts are basically comparable to the contribution that you give. So that's even better. So it pays off in more ways than one, not just helping society to become better, but you're also getting some pretty cool, neat gifts as well.
So IronE Singleton.com is the website, IRONE Singleton, SINGLETON.com. So IronE, let's get back to your name, because that has major significance, because you spell it iron with an E, but it's really about an irony, right? With the irony of life. Tell us about that.
That's right. It's iron with the capital E at the end, with no hyphen, no space. The E is symbolic. The E represents an eagle in flight with an unbroken spirit, meaning no matter what you go through in life, no matter the adversity of the trials and tribulations, you can overcome that as long as you hold fast to your faith and you continue to put forth an effort, continue to put forth the work. Faith without works is dead. So a lot of people have the faith, but they're sometimey with their effort. So we have to continue to push forward and never give up, never give up, never give up. I came up with that name about 17 years ago, right before I moved to L.A. I graduated from college, and I moved to L.A., but I wanted to stand out in a way. I wanted, because God told me that I had a testimony and that I had been through what I had gone through for a reason, so I could share it with the world. So I said, what better way to do that than by coming up with the moniker IronE, and so that it could serve as an icebreaker. So when I get out there and I would meet people, casting directors, movie execs and agents, you name it, then the first thing a lot of people would ask, IronE? That's your name? What is that? So, what's the significance of it?
It gave you a talking point, right? You got to engage with them.
Yes, exactly. And so that was the icebreaker, and then it led to bigger and better things, because people, and then it helps you to align yourself with, it helped me to align myself with the right people. They understood what I was about initially. Some people ask me about Hollywood, and they're like, well, is Hollywood tough because you're so faith-driven, and, do they shun that? And it's like, no, not if people know who you are. If they know who you are, then they leave it alone and they respect it. I think sometimes the confusion comes in when people don't understand who they are, know who they are, and then they get in the thick of things in this Hollywood filmmaking, this glamorous world of television and film, and they don't really know who they are, so they let somebody else decide for them who they're going to be. And it shouldn't be that way. We should have our relationship with God. We know who we are, then everybody else would know who we are.
How beautifully spoken, and I couldn't agree with you more, because there's nothing better than being your authentic self. Well, IronE, we are out of time. I'm giving your website out again, IronESingleton.com. And I really encourage everyone to go to his website and to check it out and to get involved in the Kickstarter. I know that this show, your one-man show, Blindsided by The Walking Dead, is going to be amazing. And because of your faith and your encouragement and your empowerment and just who you are as a person and your love and devotion to the world, to your wife, to your family, just to humanity, I applaud you. And you are just a joy to all of us. You're a gift, IronE. And thank you for gracing the airwaves here on Star Style, Be the Star You Are. I can't even appreciate you more.
Wow. You're beautiful, Cynthia. Thank you for saying that. And that means a lot to me. And it means even more to me. Believe it or not, people come out and I meet people and they say, you were great in The Walking Dead. I love T-Dog. And although that means a lot, but when people say, you know what, you are a wonderful person. You're so very nice and kind. Then that touches me to my core because I understand, like, that's why I'm here. That's why I didn't perish when times were so hard. And it's like, so to hear that means so much to me, Cynthia. And I love you, and I appreciate you for all you do. And keep on inspiring, keep on motivating.
Thank you, IronE. We appreciate you so much. And we know that it's going to be a major success. We will be promoting you. So IronESingleton.com, please visit it. Thank you all for being such great listeners and allowing Star Style to be in your life every week. Tune in from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday with me, Cynthia Brian, your growth and success coach. We want to help you reach for the stars because we know you can land on them. It's all about being the star you are. Don't forget to get involved with Be the Star You Are charity as we help all these disaster victims. We always are our aims to encourage, inspire, inform, amuse, and motivate. And until next week, when we celebrate again with you, remember, love always wins, kindness always prevails, and smiles keep us happy. My name is Cynthia Brian, and that was IronE Singleton. Thank you, IronE.
Wow. I'm giving you a standing ovation.
You are. Thanks for joining us. This was a great show. Thank you so much.
Be the star you are. The star you are. Be the star you are. You are the star.
It's been a pleasure bringing you our life-changing program, Star Style, Be the Star You Are. We have you on our radar, as it's our goal to inspire, inform, entertain, and motivate you to be the star you were born to be. For more information, visit starstyleradio.com. And to make a donation to the charity, go to BeTheStarYouAre.org. Ignite the flame that burns brightly within. Take charge of your life and coach yourself to success with our dynamic host and empowerment architect, Cynthia Brian, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Voice America Empowerment Channel for another serving of champagne for the spirit and a power boost to live with Star Style. Until we celebrate together next week, be the star you are.